of the easiest scales to practice on the guitar is the major scale. Yes. But if you don't get the correct path, even major scales becomes very difficult. What is a scale? How do we visualize them correctly on the fingerboard? And how do we use scales? How do we construct scales? I know these are the questions hovering around you. An alphabetical succession of notes having definite relationship with a starting note, also known as the key note, is known as a scale. A pool of notes from which music can be created. That is also a scale. We need scales to do a whole lot of things. To improvise, to construct our chords, to do our arpeggios, and even most of the serious techniques you would want to know depends on scale works. So you can never underrate scales. Some of the scales that you might have heard of, the chromatic scale, the major scale, the minor scale, the augmented scale, the diminished scale, and billions of scales. There are thousands of scales, but are they all very relevant for the musician? We have the Congolese scale, the Spanish scale, the Gypsy minor, the Hindu? Yes. So depending on where you come from, it is a must for you to learn the kind of skills within your sector. You cannot use all the skills in this world, but learn the most relevant ones. Yes. So look out for, ask around for the most beautiful ones and learn them. Some skills, when held instantly, will put you on a halt. Hey, stop. You have to stop and listen to it once again. And the next thing is how to visualize them correctly, organize them correctly on the guitar fretboard. And that is what I'm going to do with you today. I wouldn't waste time. I would want to be very brief. My name is Pastor Georgespratz, aka Georgespratz. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, because if you don't, you will be missing a lot. You are free to leave your comments, like and share our page to others. You don't have to be selfish. Bless others with this beautiful page. And hey, support our channel if you can. Support our channel in any way that you can, so that we can continuously bring you tutorials, your favorite ones. In music, we use 12 sounds. So it means there are only 12 notes in music. All these 12 notes together will give us what we call the chromatic scale. Do, di, re, mi, fa, fi, so, zi, la, li, ti, do. In the senior secondary school, I read science. One of the most interesting topics I remember very well is chromatography, where we tried separating colors into their various components. So we poured an ink into a bowl and we inserted into it a certain kind of paper known as litmus paper, and we started observing it. And we saw or noticed that the ink rose on the litmus paper based on its level of frequency. So we had red, indigo, the color of the rainbows were correctly represented on the litmus paper. So even colors were separated into its various. We have blue, yes. So chroma simply means color separation. Okay? So in music, when you use the chromatic scale, it means you are adding color. You are adding color to your notes. The major scale is the most fundamental of all scales. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Everyone knows it. So if you decide to embellish it a little, without leaving any notes on the guitar fretboard, if you move from one fret to the next, either forward or backward, you are using chromatics. From C, if I don't jump straight away, but I play every note on every fret, I'm using chromatics. So chromatic scale is the easiest scale to learn on the guitar. It's even more easier when you would want to learn chromatic scale on just one string. Let's say, for instance, the top string, E. The E chromatic scale is very simple. E, F, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. I don't know the kind of guitar you use, but the moment you get to E, you realize there are what we call identification marks. On this guitar, it is right on top, but you see some 2 dots at the 12th position, meaning you've counted 12. The guitar assumes like it's now starting. So here becomes your number 1, number 2, number 3. That is how it is. The chromatic scale is also known as the semitonal scale. It comprises of 12 notes, and the intervals between them is semitones. What is an interval? The difference in pitch between 2 notes. The difference in pitch between 2 notes is an interval. So scales are based on certain formulas and intervals, very important. And the interval for the chromatic scale is semitone. The best way to represent it is to represent it on a chromatic cycle. Look. So see how we represent it on a chromatic cycle. Yes. It is easier this way because we are used to the clock, the everyday clock. We know where our 12 o'clock is. So I, for instance, would want to start my C on the 12 o'clock and then represent the others on this. So that in case you want to calculate the intervals, you know that from 1 minute hand to the next, there are 12 divisions, so there are 12 movements of the minute hand. And every minute, every movement from 12 to 1, 1 to 2 to 3 is a semitonal movement. There are semitones throughout. So in case I move from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I know that is 1 semitone. From 1 to 2 is 2 semitones. So if I move from C to D, obviously I've moved a tone. A semitone is also the shortest possible distance in music. And a tone is the sum of 2 semitones. So this is what you need to carry along as a guitarist. This thing should be in your heart. It should be like the Bible written in your heart. When they ask you John 3:16, you're able to quote. So should every beginner of guitar should be able to quote readily what a scale is, what an interval is, what a chromatic scale is, what a major scale is, what a minor system represents. We use the chromatic scales a lot when we want to embellish the major scale a little, when we want to decorate the major scale. It is always important to organize scales very well so that it can correctly visualize on the fingerboard, so that you can correctly picture it. Everything about scale works, arpeggio works, are patterns. We memorize patterns and shapes. Memorize patterns, when you can visualize it well, you spread it over the entire fretboard. This is the secret most geniuses use. There are so many scales, but let me start with the major scale, which is the most fundamental of all scales. The major scale is simply a scale that follows the major rule: tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Initially, I thought practicing major scale was that simple. Yes, because on the guitar fretboard, there are so many ways the major scale can be presented on the fretboard. But if you don't get the correct path, if you don't get the correct patterns, if you don't get the correct shapes of this scale on the fingerboard, it becomes extremely difficult. I'm here to present to you how to visualize the major scale on the fretboard. And today I call it the 3 notes on a string method. I'm going to do this presentation in the key of F. So this is the correct way to visualize the F major scale. The 3-note method on every string. And before you can do this exercise, let me caution you. You are using both stretched and closed fingering techniques. If it is stretched, we use 1, 2, and 4. Use the first, the second, and then fourth. You don't use the third. I want you to bear this in mind. Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It makes improvisation very smooth because you already have the pictures right on your face. On the 6th and 5th, the same shape. On the 4th and 3rd, the same shape. On the 2nd and 1st, the same shape. That's the first one. And now the second one. The 3 strings between are all stretched, so it makes it easier to play. Check. It's not easy. Is that? Now your third one. Start from the 5th fret position of the C string. The last one closed, 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 closed. Then the 3 strings below are all stretched. You make improvisation very smooth. The 4th one is quite weird because the shapes are not regular. On every string, the structure is different, the shape is different. You still have to picture it. On every string, on each string. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, an interesting one. This is easiest. 3 stretch fingering on the 6th, 5th, and then 4th, and then below it closed. The next 3 strings are closed. Close on the 6th and the 5th string, and then stretch on the 3rd and then 4th. Then stretch on the 2nd string, but close on the 1st string. So the next time I meet you on scales, I'll show you how to use them in songs.